And hello YouTube, how's everyone doing today? Today is not really an unboxing video, but I guess a presentation video. I've already unboxed these boots. And I've done that to make it easier to carry them to work. I put these in the bag and an extra bag to bring to work. I had originally planned on putting them on as soon as I went on duty or when I got to work, and it didn't really plan out that way. It never does. And then I kind of planned on doing it going down the road on the train. And I was worried my engineer would see, and I kind of get self-conscious about some of this stuff, and I don't know why. About the boots, kind of like with fragrances, I've always kind of been self-conscious slash I don't know, whatever you would want to call it, I guess insecure about people really smelling me, because I don't want to be known as that weird guy that wears too much cologne, or that bro, which is a weird guy that wears too much cologne. Same thing with boots. You know, it's not weird, but it's kind of hard, I guess, to sit here and explain to someone why you buy these boots that cost so much money. And you can justify one, but you can't justify one. You can't justify 6 pairs, I don't think. Probably justify 2 or 3, but I have the Patriots, my Type 2 Commanders, with mocha rough out lowers and black smooth uppers. The black steel toes. Have a pair of tan Teton and mochas coming, and then I have a pair of lace to toes coming as well. This is my signature, I guess you would call it, build design. A 10-inch boot, natural finish with a honey vibram outsole. Aesthetically looking, I think the honey vibram outsole is probably the best looking outsole there is. Just aesthetically looking, it goes with so many leathers, so many stitching options, so many. I mean, it looks good with a natural edge, and then it also looks good with a brown edge. I've never seen it with a black edge. I might try that. I imagine it would be hard on the maker to keep it clean without getting the black dye and the black polish on it, but we'll see. These boots are walnut. This is the Seidel work leather walnut, non-lined. No reason to have this boot lined. This is stiff tempered leather. It's very waxy, as you can see. It has a nice sheen to it. These boots will probably not need to be polished, not need to be conditioned for 2, 3, maybe 4 months. Kind of just depends on how it goes in my rotation, and what all these boots see. Maybe it might see a little bit extra work compared to some of the other boots some of the other Franks I've been wearing. And then at the same time, it might not receive that much wear. This is a composite toe. Shoot. Sorry, got crap on this little crappy table. The TVs don't even work. They put the little channel things in here in the dormitory. This isn't even a hotel we stay in for work. It's a dormitory. Absolutely horrendous. But it's a composite toe. I have a steel toe of Frank's. I'll be doing a comparison video on the steel toe versus composite toe, but I wanted to see how I like the composite toe. Obviously the benefit of the composite toe is it doesn't get as cold in the winter. I hate being cold, and I'm sure everyone else hates being cold. I understand I like cold weather because I get to layer up and kind of dress a little bit different. And for a bigger guy like myself, winter is nice because I can kind of layer up and make myself not look as fat. But nothing's worse than having cold feet. I don't care who you are, where you're at. You can't make an excuse of saying that cold feet is comfortable. If you are, you're a liar, and you know the truth's not in you. Thus saith the Lord. But a walnut. Let me go over the build of this boot before I get too much sidetracked. Walnut, Seidel work leather, black stitching. All the way around on the inside, there's a little bit of white stitching coming down through here. On the inside right here, I'm not really sure why it is, but that's what Frank's chose to do. It's not visible, so it doesn't really matter. And even if it was visible, it wouldn't really matter to me. A lot of people get so choked up on this, on some of these things, and you know, I think some people are kind of way too picky. But then at the same time, rightfully so, you're paying $600 for a pair of boots. You should have a boot that is perfect, if not as close to perfection as possible. No pull loop. I don't really see the need of a pull loop in a boot like this. You can easily just grab it right here like this and put it on. Let me show the other boot. Let me get a different side view of these boots. I've really not looked at these boots too closely. But as typical, I mean, it is the stiff. I mean, this I'm not just sitting here, you know. I mean, this is about as much wiggle as this shaft right here has. I mean, this is a stiff boot. It's a T-1 Commander, so it has the thicker midsole in it. You're gonna see how I like that. No lineman shank, no lineman's patch, no lineman flaps. I don't need it. I thought about doing a boot with lineman patches because I do like the look aesthetically, but I don't need it. That's the one good thing I think about the railroad. Well, now we have to have some sort of protective toe, but I don't necessarily need, I don't need a metahersal guard. I don't need some of these things that a lot of other jobs do need. You can see, symmetrically speaking, I mean, this boot is, besides this and this right here, just because it's been laying out, but symmetrically speaking, I mean, it is just, it's right on, spot on. All the, oh, he has antique hooks and eyelets. I think that's all for the details of the build. Walnut, black stitching, antique hooks and eyelets, honey vibram composite toe, natural finish. I think that's all. Sorry. No pull loop, of course, none of that other extra stuff. These boots are Mackay stitched. It's the benefit of it. I think that's the reason also why I have never heard a story of Frank's arches collapsing. I mean, you hear stories of JK's arches collapsing. The Whites guys, even if their pairs of Whites boots did collapse, they wouldn't say anything. Same thing with Westco and the Knicks guys. I have heard stories of a couple of their boots, the arches collapsing. It mostly happens on the JKs, but I think the Mackay stitch helps with that. In every pair of Frank's boots that I've had that has a Mackay stitch, I have not been able to feel the Mackay stitch. The only time I have been able to feel the Mackay stitch is if I sit there and I kind of scrunch up my toes a little bit. I can kind of feel it, but that's the only time, and even then it's not annoying or it's not an issue at all. I think it's just one of those things that some manufacturers have conjured up to kind of say, hey, you know, or to kind of make up a lie. Now, I will say this color is kind of similar to the JKs I have, and this tongue/gusset leather feels the thickness and the temper of the shaft and everything of the JK boots. I think these Franks are superior. Like I said, you can look at it here and see the quality control. And a lot of people talk about these boots like this. They think this is a quality control issue. See, look, they think that's a quality control. Well, you shouldn't be able to do that. You shouldn't be able to rock the boot. It should be flat. Oh, really? So you step like this? No, you walk like this. That's how you walk. And another thing on these boots that you are able to see, you see this wrinkling right here? This is not a defect. This is not a defective leather. This is not an issue of Frank's. This is simply because the leather is so thick and the temper of the leather is so stiff that there is no way of getting around this wrinkling. If you don't want this wrinkling, I guess you could request for a lower thickness leather, a lower ounce leather, and request a leather that isn't tempered as stiff. So there is no way of getting around this wrinkling without sacrificing either the quality of the leather or the structural integrity of the leather itself. Going with a lower quality leather. That's the only way to get around it. As I'm examining this, I'm looking at the stitches, looking at the spacing of the eyelets and the speed hooks, and I cannot honestly find a flaw. Yeah, Frank's does it again. I mean, at this point, I don't think I've had a single Frank's that's had a single defect with it, or at least one that I've been able to see. I mean, I'm not sitting here with a little centimeter or millimeter ruler checking out every single thing of these eyelets and speed hooks, but I am taking, a pretty close, use a thumb width, use a finger in here because of it. Now, I will say, I'll say it on my pair of JKs, it's hard to go through there and just speed these up like this because the hooks are not symmetrically spaced apart, and some of them are kind of back, some of them are kind of forward, so you miss them and it's hard. And in all these stitches right here, I'm looking, and there's just like one little spot right here to where like it's just not a perfect curve. It kind of has a little straightness to it, and then it goes back to the curve. But it's like stuff like that that'll never even be seen, because basically from here up, you will never see it because of my jeans. And it's just amazing, this quality of boots. And look here, holy hell! Let's see. Let me see if I can. Oh God. Yeah, these boots they're going to take a little while to break in. Probably 50 hours, maybe 50 hours of walking. I've kind of gotten to where on the T2 Commanders, I kind of know the break-in process of those. I went with it on the Patriots, which the Patriots is just a top 2 that's not McKay stitch. And then on my second pair, on my other T2s, and then on the previous pair of steel toe T2s, kind of have the break-in of the top 2 Highlander. Sorry, not the T1s are the Commanders. The T2s are the Highlanders. Have the break into the Highlanders down on how I need to break the boots in, when I'm getting hot spots, where I'm getting hot spots, how to prevent those hot spots, and when just to take a break a day or two of those boots. It's going to be a new process for these T1s. I'm going to see if I like the T1 better, if I like the thicker midsole. And I might not. I'm sure once they get broken in, they won't be loose, but they'll be broken in and they won't be as stiff. I mean, it's hard to flex, but we'll see. It's going to be a journey, part of my boot journey. I've wanted to go back and make some fragrance videos, but I think I have to really find my love of fragrance again. I have honestly not been wearing fragrance at all. I've just been focused on these boots. I'm going to see how I like these composite toes, and then possibly do some sort of comparison between the steel toe and the composite toe of of Frank's boots, which is, if you didn't know, I think there's not really that many places that you can get steel and composite toes for boots. So these boot makers are kind of limited on the custom ability the customization of the toe of these boots with the composite or steel toe. You have to go with the number 3 toe. Can't go with the number 2. Can't go with the number 4. Which means you're stuck using the 55 last. Now I will say with the steel toe, and I'm not sure with the composite toe, the steel toe actually kind of makes the toe box look like a number 4. It's a 1977 last, which would be a 1967 last, I think so, in Nick's. You know, it's kind of nice because, you know, you can still stay at the 55 last and not have to worry about changing your size, but the toe itself actually does look very close to a number 4 toe box. So it's kind of nice, which it's not an upcharge to do a number 4 toe anyway. So, but it is an upcharge to get a steel toe or a composite toe. But we'll see how it goes. I was worried about the look of the composite toe, and I was also worried about the look of the steel toe. And I talked to Franks, and they said a lot of times it just simply comes down to the size of the boot. A lot of people that have narrow, long feet, and they order like a 13C in boots, of course it's going to make the toe look very bulbous and almost like a clown shoe. Now some boot makers, they look like that anyway, but I was talking to a guy at Frank's. It wasn't Frank, I can't remember who it was, but he was saying how that, you know, a lot of these boot manufacturers kind of get a bad rap because they kind of look like clown shoes, you know. But he said there's no way of getting around it really with some of these sizes. Said, you know, you have a long skinny foot, a long skinny boot, and then you have a composite toe or a steel toe on the end. It's going to look that way. Or you do the same thing and you want to add a cap toe, or just the way that the last is with that size. Sometimes there's just no getting around it. But anyways, I'm gonna get these boots laced up. I don't know if I want to do the kilty with a smooth out like this, or if I want to do it rough out. I don't know. I've contemplated doing it both ways on these boots, but I don't know. Just for I don't know, the way these boots are, I think it'd probably look better with the smooth out kilties. I don't go with full length kilties because of the extra break in, but I don't think it's probably that necessary for what I'm doing. And it is not necessary for what I'm doing. I mean, it's added protection. I don't think I need extra protection up here. Probably right here is where I need it. But hope everyone has a good day. Hope everyone enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about Frank's boots, don't be afraid to message me. I'm not a dealer or anything at Frank's Boots. I'm not sponsored by Frank's Boots. I'm simply just someone who wants the best that I can afford, and I want my money spent I want my money that's been earned to be spent well. So hope everyone has a great day.